Right now, growing 3 feet from your front door, there are plants that people once relied on to survive. No doctor, no pharmacy, no insurance card. Just what worked. And somewhere between then and now, we forgot. We started paying for relief we could have pulled out of our own backyard for free. This isn't folklore. This isn't your grandmother's superstition. These are 10 plants with real clinical trials behind them, published in real medical journals, growing right now in the one place you'd never think to look. Stick around, because number 8 looks harmless, until you find out it's been linked to a real documented death. And number 1, that's the one I saved for last, because it's backed by more human clinical evidence than almost anything else on this list, for a problem millions of people quietly suffer through every single day. And it's probably growing in your lawn right now. If you want plants like this, the ones that actually work, broken down for you every single week, hit subscribe right now, because you don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, here are the 10, ranked from remarkable to the one that's going to make you look at your entire yard differently. Let's start with number 10. Number 10. Cleavers, the sticky little hitchhiker weed that's been quietly working in the background for centuries. If you've ever walked through tall grass and come out covered in tiny clinging burrs, that's cleavers. British and European folk medicine used it for generations, for swollen glands, sluggish lymph systems, and skin irritation. People called it a cleansing herb. This wasn't just old world superstition. It was observation, generation after generation noticing the same plant helping with the same problems, long before anyone knew why. And here's where it gets interesting. A 2024 study published in BMC Complementary Medicine and Therapies found real antimicrobial, antioxidant, and wound healing activity in cleavers extract. Other lab research has even found it showing selective activity against cancer cells, while leaving healthy cells alone. Early stage, lab-only findings, but real ones, sitting in real medical journals. Here's the traditional use. Steep the fresh or dried herb as a tea, or apply a cooled infusion directly to irritated skin. Simple, no equipment, just the plant. Number 9. Self-heal, a plant so trusted, its name literally tells you what it's for. Also called heal-all, this one shows up in 2 completely separate medical traditions, thousands of miles apart. European folk medicine used it for sore throats, fevers, and wounds. In traditional Chinese medicine, it's called sea ku kao, used for centuries to clear liver heat. 2 cultures, no contact with each other, landing on the same plant. That's not coincidence. That's 2 different groups of people independently noticing the same thing work, over and over, for hundreds of years. Here's how to spot it. Low-growing square stems, a telltale sign it's in the mint family, with small oval leaves growing in opposite pairs, and a tight club-shaped purple flower head sitting right at the top of the stem. You'll find it in lawns, along trail edges, almost anywhere the grass gets a little wild. And modern science is catching up. Self-heal is rich in rosmarinic acid, triterpenoids, and flavonoids, compounds linked to anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and antiviral activity in lab studies. Early cell line research has even explored its compounds against aggressive breast cancer cells and autoimmune thyroid conditions. Promising, but still early stage. Here's the traditional use. Pick the flowering tops, dry them, and steep a small handful as a tea for sore throat or mild inflammation. Some traditional preparations also use a cooled, strained tea as a rinse for minor cuts or skin irritation. Simple, low effort, no equipment needed. Now, I'll be straight with you. The University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension is up front, that despite centuries of use, there's still little in the way of scientific research, confirming it works in humans. Number 8. Yellow dock, the one I told you about at the start. This is the danger one. For generations, the root of this plant was used as a gentle laxative and liver bitter. The natural compounds inside it stimulate bowel movement, and it was also used topically for skin conditions like eczema and acne, framed as detoxifying. Here's how to identify it. Tall, upright stems up to 3 or 4 feet high, with long, wavy-edged leaves at the base. That wavy edge is the giveaway. And clusters of small, reddish-brown seed pods running up a tall central stalk in late summer. This wasn't random folk tradition. The anthraquinone compounds inside the root have a real, measurable laxative effect. That's basic plant chemistry, not superstition. And now, the danger. The raw leaves and stems are high in oxalates, which can raise kidney stone risk with heavy consumption. And there is a documented case report of a fatal poisoning tied to misidentifying or overconsuming this plant. This is not a just go eat it weed. If you're foraging, you need to know exactly what you're looking at. Here's the traditional use, with that caution front and center. The root was dried and prepared as a tincture or decoction in small amounts, never the raw leaves in bulk, and never without being completely sure of the identification. Number 7. Chickweed. This soft little weed most people mow down without a second thought. Traditional use spans both European and Chinese herbal medicine, going back centuries. Applied to skin irritation, minor wounds, and mild inflammation. Inside it, you've got saponins, flavonoids, and phenolic compounds doing the work. Here's how to identify it. Low, sprawling mats of small, bright green oval leaves with a single line of fine hairs running down one side of the stem. That hairline is the key identifier, and tiny white star-shaped flowers with deeply notched petals that make it look like it has 10 petals instead of 5. This wasn't just something people rubbed on for comfort. It was a first response plant, reached for again and again because it worked. Modern science backs this up more than you'd expect. In vitro studies show real antimicrobial activity against bacteria like Staph and E. coli, and even antiviral activity against hepatitis B in cell culture. A comprehensive 2022 pharmacological review confirmed antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and even mild calming activity in lab studies, with no significant toxicity found in animal testing. Here's the traditional use. Crush the fresh leaves into a poultice and apply directly to irritated or itchy skin, or steep the dried herb as a mild tea. Number 6. Common mallow. The plant that's been soothing sore throats since before Rome was an empire. Its mucilage-rich leaves and flowers have a documented use stretching across ancient Greek, Roman, and Middle Eastern medicine as a demulcent, meaning it coats and soothes irritated tissue, sore throats, coughs, irritated digestion. Same plant. 3 ancient civilizations. Same use. Here's how to identify it. Rounded, slightly fuzzy leaves with soft scalloped edges, and delicate 5-petaled flowers in pale pink to purple with darker veins running through each petal, blooming along tall, upright stems through summer. This wasn't people just liking the taste. That mucilage, the thick, slippery substance inside the plant, physically coats irritated tissue. That's mechanical relief you can feel, which is probably why it survived 3,000 years of use without ever being written down as just tradition. Modern science backs it up in a real way. A 2021 review compiled evidence for antimicrobial, hepatoprotective, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant activity. And here's the part that matters most. Syrups containing mallow reduced daytime and nighttime cough scores in children in reported trials. There's even a study where a combination ointment of plantain, mallow, and honey reduced the severity of radiation-induced skin irritation in patients. Here's the traditional use. Steep the dried leaves or flowers in hot water for a soothing tea, or use a strong, cooled infusion as a gargle for a sore throat. Number 5. Purslane. The plant botanists actually nicknamed the global panacea. This is the common driveway and lawn weed most people pull without a second thought. And it's one of the richest known plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids on the planet. Not fish, not supplements. A weed growing in the cracks of your sidewalk. Here's how to identify it. Thick, reddish, almost succulent stems lying flat along the ground, with small, paddle-shaped fleshy green leaves and tiny yellow 5-petaled flowers that only open in full sun. People across the Mediterranean, Asia, and the Middle East didn't eat this out of desperation. They built it into everyday cooking for generations. That's not survival food. That's a plant people chose again and again. Modern nutritional reviews confirm anti-inflammatory, anti-hyperglycemic, meaning it helps regulate blood sugar, antioxidant, neuroprotective, and immune-modulating properties. It's also loaded with potassium, magnesium, calcium, vitamin C, and vitamin E. Here's the traditional use. Eat it raw in salads, sauté it like spinach, or add it to soups. It has a mild, slightly tangy, lemony flavor. One caution worth mentioning: purslane contains meaningful oxalate levels, so if you're prone to kidney stones, that's worth knowing before you make it a daily habit. Number 4. Broadleaf plantain, the first aid weed that's been patched onto cuts and stings for generations. If you've ever gotten stung or scraped up outdoors and someone told you to crush a leaf and press it on the wound, this is that plant. Long folk history, applied directly to cuts, stings, and rashes. And modern reviews confirm it actually contains anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antioxidant compounds. Here's how to identify it. Broad, oval leaves with deep parallel veins running from base to tip, growing low in a rosette close to the ground, with a thin, leafless flower spike rising straight up from the center. You'll find it in lawns, sidewalk cracks, and hard-packed soil almost anywhere. This wasn't just something people slapped on and hoped for the best. It was a go-to, first-response remedy, reached for so consistently that it earned a nickname most weeds never get. And here's where this one actually surprised researchers. A controlled case control study on second-degree burn wounds found Plantago major extract performed comparably to standard silver sulfadiazine dressing, the actual medical-grade treatment. That's a real head-to-head comparison, not just a lab finding. Here's the traditional use. Crush a fresh, clean leaf until it releases its juices and press it directly onto a minor cut, sting, or irritated patch of skin. Number 3. Dandelion, the plant everyone in America is taught to kill, and almost nobody is taught to actually use. This is one of the most studied backyard weeds in existence, with distinct traditional uses across Central Eastern European folk medicine spanning centuries, and every single part of the plant has its own job. The root, the leaf, the flower, all used differently. Here's how to identify it. The toothed, jagged leaves growing in a low rosette, the hollow flower stem that leaks a milky sap when snapped, and of course, the bright yellow flower that turns into that familiar puffball of seeds. You already know this plant. You've just never looked at it as anything but a lawn problem. This wasn't random. The root was used specifically for liver, gallbladder, and digestive support. The leaf, nutrient-dense with vitamins A, C, K, and potassium, served as a mild diuretic. Different parts, different targeted uses, refined over centuries of observation. Modern lab studies back a surprising amount of this up. Anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and gastrointestinal protective activity have all been documented. Some cell line studies have even shown anti-proliferative effects against liver, breast, and colon cancer cells. Now, I have to be clear, that's preclinical, lab dish research. It is not evidence that dandelion treats cancer in people, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I'll also correct something you may have heard. Dandelion is often claimed to boost breast milk supply. According to NIH's LactMed database, that claim is not supported by valid clinical trials. Good research means telling you what doesn't hold up too. The good news: dandelion is generally recognized as safe by the FDA as a food. It can interact with diuretics and certain medications though, and if you have gallbladder disease, that's worth caution. Here's the traditional use. Steep the dried root as a coffee-like tea for digestive support, or toss the young leaves into a salad. They're bitter, but that bitterness is part of what makes them work. If you're starting to realize how many of these problem weeds have actual research behind them, hit that like button. It helps this video reach the people who need to see it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Number 2. Stinging nettle, the plant that hurts you on the way in and helps you on the way out. This is one of the better clinically studied backyard weeds on this entire list. Multiple randomized, double-blind human trials, the gold standard in medical research, have tested nettle root extract for benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, and enlarged prostate. Generally, these trials show real reductions in symptom scores. Here's how to identify it carefully. Serrated, heart-shaped leaves growing in opposite pairs up a square stem, covered in tiny fine hairs that deliver that unmistakable sting on contact. Gloves are not optional when harvesting this one. This wasn't superstition dressed up as medicine. This was people enduring the sting because what came after it, the relief, was worth it. That's not folklore. That's a trade people kept making for a reason. And the modern research goes further than just the prostate. A randomized controlled pilot study found topical application of stinging nettle leaves reduced chronic knee pain compared to a non-stinging lookalike control, meaning the effect held up even when researchers tried to rule out a placebo response. A separate randomized controlled trial on allergic rhinitis, hay fever, found nettle root extract improved symptoms and lab markers compared to placebo. Now, NIH's liver tox monograph is clear about where the evidence stops, while lab studies show antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Broader claims about asthma, high blood pressure, and diabetes remain unsubstantiated in controlled human trials. Good research means knowing where the proof ends. Here's the traditional use. Once dried or cooked, the sting disappears completely. Steep the dried leaf as a tea or cook it down like spinach. And here we are. Number 1. The one I saved for last, red clover. And this isn't just tradition. This is the single best studied plant on this entire list for one specific use: relieving menopausal hot flashes. Here's how to identify it. The classic 3-leaflet clover shape you already know, but with a distinct pale V marking on each leaflet, topped by a round, dense flower head in pink to reddish purple, taller and showier than the white clover most people know from their lawn. Inside red clover are plant compounds called isoflavones. They act similarly to estrogen in the body, and that's not folk theory. A meta-analysis of 8 randomized controlled trials found a statistically significant reduction in daily hot flash frequency compared to placebo. Not one study. 8 pooled together, all pointing the same direction. And it doesn't stop there. A 2026 scoping review covering more than 30 human clinical trials found the most consistent benefit at isoflavone doses of 80 milligrams a day or more, with a generally favorable safety profile across periods ranging from 8 weeks to 3 full years of use. 3 years of data on real people. That's not a lab dish. That's not a mouse. That's humans, tracked over time. Think back through everything we just covered. Dandelion clearing toxins the liver couldn't handle alone. Nettle calming inflammation from the inside. Plantain closing wounds the body couldn't close fast enough on its own. And now red clover, correcting a hormonal imbalance modern medicine still mostly treats with synthetic hormone replacement. 10 plants, 10 different systems in the body, all quietly doing what they've always done. Here's the traditional use, and the one real caution that matters. Red clover's safety in people with a history of breast or endometrial cancer has not been established, given its estrogen-like activity. That's a real, source-backed caveat, not fear-mongering. For most people, it's traditionally taken as a dried flower tea or standardized supplement, most consistently at that 80 milligram isoflavone range the research points to. Before I let you go, one thing matters more than anything else on this list. Know exactly what you're picking. Several of these plants have lookalikes, and misidentification is where things go wrong. Remember Yellow Doc. If you're pregnant, nursing, managing a health condition, or taking medication, talk to a doctor before using any of these, especially red clover, given its hormonal activity, and nettle or dandelion if you're already on medication they can interact with. This isn't about fear. It's about respecting that these are real, active plants, not just decoration in your yard. Drop a comment and tell me which one surprised you the most. I read every single comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now and ring the bell so you never miss what's coming next. We post every week and we're just getting started. See you in the next one.